Hi everyone, this is Ryan on the Syntax Byte. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a very basic Firefox extension that uses a single content script, that's a script running on a page, and a XMLHttp request. What the extension is going to do is it's just going to simply state the location of a Google search result in the DuckDuckGo search results for the same query. So it will appear inline on Google's site, so whenever you search for something in Google, the extension will automatically pull in the information of where any of those links appear in the DuckDuckGo results. So it's a simple yet useful example of an extension using a content script and an HTTP request. So we have lots to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into it here. We're going to start with the extension manifest. So I'm going to create a new file. This is my little extension folder. You know what? In fact, I've just named this Firefox. Let's create a separate folder for the extension. I'm just going to call it YT extension. Okay, and that's going to be my extension folder. And then I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it manifest.json. Has to be named manifest.json, and this is the file that is going to tell Firefox about the extension, what JavaScript files to load, etc. So it's going to just start as a JavaScript object. The first key is going to be manifest version, and for Firefox this is simply just going to be 2. I think, for Chrome and other things that use the WebExtension API, maybe you could use a manifest version 1, but for Firefox this is always 2. Then we're going to do a name. I'm going to call this DuckDuckGo position, so DDG position. Then we have a version, whoops, and that's going to be 1.0. We can give it a description. This is, just the general information that's going to appear about the extension in the extensions page. And so we'll say places a marker with the position of a link in DDG results of a Google result link. Beautiful. Okay, so that's just the general information about the extension, and then we're going to get into content script. We're going to specify a content script. Now what a content script is Firefox offers 2 types of scripts with their extensions. So there's a content script, which runs directly on a page and has access to the document object model, or the DOM. And there's also a background script. So the purpose of background scripts is they don't have access to the page itself that's loaded in the browser, but they do have access to a complete list of the WebExtension APIs, so they can play around with tabs, access other browser features that content scripts don't have access to. And there is a messaging system to message between them. Now, for the purposes of this extension, content scripts do have access to the ability to make an HTTP request, so we actually don't need a background script for this particular extension. You could have one, but it's not required, and to keep the design simple, I'm not going to add one, but it may be covered in a future video, so look out for that. But with content scripts, there's different ways to load them, but one of them is just specifying this matches in the manifest.json. And then that way, Firefox will just automatically load the script for you. You can also load them from a background script, but again, we're trying to keep this simple, so we're just going to use this method. So then I can specify a URL, and I'm going to specify this URL to have it load on a Google search result page. And then then we specify which JavaScript file that's going to be, and I'm going to call it ddg position.js. Okay. And then finally, we just need a permissions array. And in this permissions array, what we're going to put is the URL. Oh, sorry. What is... my keyboard changed. Oh, that's not right either. There we go. In this permissions array, we're going to put a match pattern for the URL that we are going to request the results from. So normally, in order for the web request to work and not be blocked, we need to put the URL that it's going to, the match pattern for it, in permissions, just so it's not blocked by the cross-site scripting security mechanisms. Otherwise, the web request won't work. So if you do find that your web request just isn't working properly, make sure that you have this positions array in there. Great, so now that we've created that manifest.json file, we can go ahead and create this JavaScript file that we mentioned in the manifest, ddgposition.js. It's going to load on the Google search results page. So we're going to do ddgposition.js. And to start off with, I'm just going to test the file by doing a simple one-liner that'll make it really obvious that the extension works. So we're going to do document.body.style, .border equals 5 pixels solid red. And that should make it just really obvious that the extension is loaded and working on the URL patterns that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and you can go to About, Debugging in Firefox, and then just go load temporary add-on. Select that manifest.json file that we had, click open. If there's no warnings, that's a good sign. And then I'm just going to do a quick Google search for quick search. And we can see that the red border shows up around the Google search. So we know that the extension is loaded and working on the Google search results page. So perfect, that's exactly what we want. Let me just get rid of that now. So now what I want to do is I want to set up the web request to request the DuckDuckGo results for the same query. So the very first thing I need to do is you'll notice that in the Google search bar there's this queue element in the URL. So I want to go ahead and use JavaScript to get that and initiate the web request with DuckDuckGo. So I'm going to start off by getting that query string. I can do const query string, and the query string is the part after the question mark. It's going to be window.location.search. Okay. Next I can do const URL params equals new URL search params query string. And then we can check if that queue is present with if URL params dot has queue. And then if it does have it, we can go ahead and get it. So const query search query equals URL params dot get queue. And I'm going to try and do this quite fast just so we can get through it in the video. It is a lot of code. But if you would like to copy the code or refer to the code, I do have it available in the full written tutorial on my website, which is linked down in the description. Okay, so that should get the query for of the Google search result. Now we need to fire off the web request to DuckDuckGo to get the results. So to set that up, I'm going to do let xhr equal new XMLHttpRequest. Okay, and then we need to set up that request. First, we're going to do an onload is going to be a function. This is the callback function when the request successfully loads. So we can do let results equal array dot from this dot response XML dot get elements, and it seems to know actually get elements by class name. The class name is going to be a result. So if we have a look at the page that we're actually going to be loading, so it's duckduckgo.com/html. This is their HTML version. It doesn't require JavaScript, so it's good for scraping. We can just go ahead and do quick search. It will pull up the DuckDuckGo results for that Google search we had. We can see the top one is the same, so hopefully the extension will show us that later. But if we just right click and go inspect element, we can see everything as a result, and then inside the result, obviously there's a link somewhere. So we want to get each result, and then we want to find the link within that result. So we could start by doing get elements by class name result. And then where we're going to go from there is we're going to do actually a map on it. So we're going to do a map, and that's going to take each piece of, like each part of the array, and modify it in the same way. So it's going to pass result, that's the existing element, so that result element. And for each one of those, we're just going to pick out the anchor tag. So we're going to do get elements by class name. Each one has a result, result _a. We're just going to take the first link. There should only be one of those in there, so we should just be able to just take the first one and take the href of that. DuckDuckGo also likes to put ads in their results occasionally, and those will get pulled in. We want to remove them because we want to use the index as, you know, a rough indicator of what position the result appears in. So we want to go ahead and remove the ads, otherwise it will throw off our numbers. So we can go ahead and just do results equals results dot filter. Again, we're going to do an arrow query, and it's going to be result not result dot starts with https://duckduckgo.com/y.js. So that's what their ads start with. So we can just get rid of those. And then we're gonna have another function. It's gonna be called apply results. It's gonna be responsible for actually creating the little boxes on the Google page and comparing the results with the Google. Oops, didn't wanna pull it out of the function there. Not really sure what kind of atom foo I just activated, but well, it'd be nice if I actually knew how to do that when I want to do that, but that's not right now. So we'll do that, and that's just keeps things clean. You would be able to, you know, call it from somewhere else if ever needed, and that way it's not all just kind of chilling in this onload callback function. I'm also going to do an onError, just so we know if an error occurred. And we'll just do a console.log, and an error occurred. So if that happens, one of the reasons might be that the permissions are wrong, or we maybe just simply spelled something wrong. And I see I spelled DuckDuckGo incorrectly right there, so we're just gonna do that like that. And let's just take a quick look for any other spelling mistakes. I don't see any at this time. So that will be the onError. Next up, I gotta set up the actual request itself. So we're gonna do an xhr.open. It's gonna be a type of GET request. It's gonna be to https://duckduckgo.com/html/ and then it's that q equals. So DuckDuckGo also has a q, and that is the search query. We're gonna throw in that search query that we picked out of Google, and we're gonna do it asynchronously with true. And that's that line right there. We also need to set the response type so that it will automatically actually parse that XML. So this is very important. Otherwise, this .response XML up here will potentially be blank. So it's important that we set the response type. The response type is going to be document. So that's how we do that. And then finally, we can send the web request with xhr.send. Okay. And so I'm just going to add that function, apply results. It's going to take results. And for now, I'm just going to simply console.log those results. And so now let's go ahead and reload it and see when we load a Google search result if we actually get that in the console. So we're going to hope. And we do. So we can see here that we have this array and it's got all of these links. So these are all the DuckDuckGo results. So now the next thing that we need to do is actually just compare it with the Google results and add the little orange boxes into the Google search results if it matches. So we can see the first one is glary-soft.com/quicksearch, and Google has the same one. So then we'd like to see a little 1 right here, indicating that it's the same. It's the same on DuckDuckGo. It doesn't look like many of the other results are the same for this particular search query. Okay, so we're going to be working within the apply results function now. So what I'm going to do is, first off, we need to, just like we did up here, getting the results from the DuckDuckGo, we need to get the results from Google. So we're going to say let Google results equal array.from document dot get elements by class name. And Google just gives their results a class name of R. So that's what that looks like. And then we can go ahead and do a .map. And again, we need to get the actual anchor tag. So we can do a result equals result dot get elements by tag name is what I'm going to use in this case instead. And A. And again, we'll just grab the first one. Okay, and I could go ahead and actually just pull some of this code down so it's not wrapping on us. Perfect. Okay. So next I want to loop those results and compare them with the DuckDuckGo results. And if it's a match, I want to go ahead and insert that little orange thing. So I'm going to do for const g result of Google results. Then I'm going to do let URL equal g result dot href if URL dot starts with window dot location dot origin plus slash URL. Then we have to actually get the links. So sometimes what Google does with their links is, the reason we're doing this is sometimes you can see if I mouse over these, they're all kind of direct links, so it's not a problem. But sometimes what they'll do is they'll actually give a link to Google and then the URL as a parameter to that link. So it's really quite strange. And I don't know why the internet's not working right now. There we go. I can't seem to find one that's doing it right now, which is probably good, because even if our code to kind of decode it breaks, this should keep working. But sometimes Google does that, so we still want to account for it and just try and pull it out. So const URL params equals new URL search params from that URL, and we'll do if URL params dot has URL. Then we'll say URL equals URL params dot get URL. So it would show up as something like, https://google.com, and then there would be like this, and then URL equals the actual result.com. And so we don't want this part, we want this part. And it's always google.com/URL, and then URL equals. So we just want to pull this link out and discard this. But some of them are just direct links, so we just want to check if it's of that format, and then if so, we want to pull it out. And then we could do an else. And then I'm just gonna do a continue here. It seems weird doing a continue here, but we already did if the URL starts with Google. So this might just happen, if for some reason it's Google linking to itself, but we can't pull out the URL and figure out what it is, then we'll just continue. This is a pretty fail-safe thing. The worst that's going to happen is, a result will match DuckDuckGo, but actually the box doesn't pop up. It's not really that big of a deal. We just want to move on. So we'll do that. And then so now that we've established the URL, and remember the original URL was set up here. So if it doesn't start with the Google URL, then the URL just gets set here and that's done. But this piece of code here just deals with the potential that it can start with that. So then we need to see what is the DuckDuckGo position. So we do constant DuckDuckGo position, and again, remember this is happening for every Google URL. We're inside a for loop. Results.find index of element where that is equal to the URL. Okay, so we're going to look at that results that was passed in. We're going to find the index of the element where the URL matches, the first element where the URL matches. And so we'll say, and of course it will return -1 if it wasn't found in the DuckDuckGo results. So we'll say if GDG position is greater than or equal to 0, then that's when we want to insert that little box. Now, just to keep things simple on camera here, I'm going to go ahead and copy the code, but this again is in a written tutorial online on my website. But you guys, I'll make sure you have a chance to look at this here. So it's insert a JSON HTML before end, and then it's just this HTML here. So that's what the HTML looks like. Oop. But we don't want to do that. But it's basically just a div with a background color, some positioning information, and then the DuckDuckGo position +1 because it's an index. So to make it user friendly, we don't want to say it's it's the 0 result on DuckDuckGo. It will be the #1 result, so we want to add 1, and then just closing tags, and I'll go ahead and insert that. Okay, and that is pretty much done. So we can go ahead and save this file and see if it works. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to do a quick reload here. And what I should find over here is we do get the array, but we maybe just go here. Ah, there we go. So we get a quick 1 that shows that this result was also the first result on DuckDuckGo. So we could also try like a different search. We could try searching for like Geico, say. It's just pretty typical search. We'd see that the #1 result is the same. This my account down here is the second result. Wikipedia is the 4th result, coming up as the 2nd on Google. So we can see how that kind of compares. So anyway, that's how you create a simple Firefox extension with an XML/HTTP request. So you can request information from other websites using a content script. So we're modifying the DOM directly. It's pretty simple, but it took me a while to figure out, so I thought I'd make a tutorial on it. If you guys did enjoy this tutorial and do want more content on making Firefox extensions, please do let me know. I'm not really sure how popular this topic is going to be, so definitely let me know if you guys would like more topics on showing you how to use more features of the Firefox API. Subscribe for more content and like if you like the video, and I will see you in the next one.